The truth no one tells you about no contact. People think silence is power. Block them. Ignore them. Disappear. Let them feel your absence. But this advice is incomplete, because silence isn't the thing that changes your life. Silence is what makes someone regret losing you. Silence isn't what creates real emotional consequences. The Stoics understood something deeper. Silence is only a pause. Transformation is the shift. Anyone can disappear. Not everyone can evolve. Today, I want to show you the truth the world refuses to tell you. Your growth hurts far more than your silence. And once you understand this, you will never chase validation through no contact again. Let's begin. 1. No contact isn't power, it's space. Most people use no contact as a strategy. If I disappear, they'll think about me. If I stay silent, they'll miss me. If I don't reach out, they'll regret everything. But Stoicism does not teach manipulation. Stoicism teaches mastery. Silence on its own doesn't transform you. Silence doesn't heal you. Silence doesn't rebuild your life. No contact is only the removal of noise. What you do inside that silence is what determines your future. If you spend no contact, checking your phone, waiting for a message, replaying memories, hoping they react, imagining their regret, then no contact becomes a trap. But if you spend no contact, reading, training, rebuilding, learning, growing, then no contact becomes a doorway. Stoicism teaches this principle. Waste no more time on what is outside your control. Your silence is not power. Your response inside silence is. 2. Your transformation is what truly hurts them. People can ignore your absence, but they cannot ignore your evolution. Silence can be misunderstood, but growth is undeniable. Silence fades. Improvement leaves a mark. The day someone who hurt you realizes you didn't just disappear, you became better. That is the moment everything changes. Because here is what they expect. They think you will break. They think you will chase. They think you will spiral. They think you will wait. Your transformation destroys their expectations. Your clarity contradicts their assumptions. Your strength exposes their weakness. Your stability highlights their chaos. Your discipline reveals their lack of growth. Seneca said, "It is not that life is short, but that we waste much of it." Your transformation proves you didn't waste a single second on them. And that truth hurts deeper than silence. 3. Your growth holds up a mirror they cannot face. People aren't afraid of losing you. They're afraid of being confronted with who they are. Your silence says nothing, but your transformation says everything. When they see you healed, they're forced to face themselves. When they see you grounded, they're forced to realize their instability. When they see you at peace, they must face the turmoil inside themselves that they tried to hide behind excuses. Your rebirth becomes an uncomfortable mirror. Their story collapses. They won't move on. They need me. They weren't special. They weren't strong. Your transformation rewrites the narrative. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish." You let them underestimate you. You let them misjudge you. You let them walk away thinking they won. Because you knew something they didn't. The version of you they abandoned was only a fraction of what you would become. 4. What hurts them most is that you become irreversible. Silence can be undone. Growth cannot. They can message you one day. They can come back with apologies. They can test the waters. They can revisit the past. but they cannot access the person you used to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a river. You cannot step into the same river twice. You are not the same man anymore." And this is the pain they feel. They didn't lose your silence. They lost access to your evolution. They didn't lose the person who waited. They lost the person who healed. They didn't lose the version of you who tolerated their immaturity. They lost the version of you who outgrew it. They cannot get that version back. And that irreversibility is what truly hurts. 5. The moment the power dynamic flips. There is a moment, quiet, subtle, unexpected, when everything shifts. It's not when you block them. It's not when you ignore them. It's not when you don't respond. The moment they feel real pain is when they recognize, even if I tried, I can't get them back the way they were. Because now, you don't need reassurance. You don't need answers. You don't need apologies. You don't need them. Your past self needed closure. Your present self needs peace. Your old self wanted understanding. Your new self wants alignment. You don't want them anymore. You want a life they no longer fit into. That realization crushes them more than any silence could. 6. Growth makes you emotionally unreachable. The person you were was emotionally accessible. You reacted. You chased. You explained. You justified. You tolerated. But after the transformation, something powerful happens. You stop seeking reaction. You stop seeking validation. You stop seeking attention. You become emotionally self-sufficient. Seneca said, "No man is crushed by what is beneath him." When you rise above who you were, you rise above the person who hurt you. You don't become cold. You become clear. You don't become bitter. You become better. You don't become silent. You become sovereign. This is what makes you unreachable. Not distance, but elevation. 7. Your rebirth is the real message. You don't rebuild to impress them. You rebuild because your soul demands it. You don't grow to show them you're strong. You grow to actually be strong. You don't rise to make them regret. You rise because staying low is no longer an option. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is measured by the worth of what he values." You no longer value their validation. You value your evolution. You no longer value their attention. You value your peace. You no longer value their presence. You value your purpose. Your rebirth sends a message, more powerful than any silence. I didn't just move on. I moved beyond. 8. The final Stoic truth. You don't need them to miss you. You don't need them to come back. You don't need them to regret. You don't need them to realize anything. You don't need their recognition to validate your growth. You don't need their apology to complete your healing. You don't need their return to close your story. The Stoic path is this. You close the door, not because they're unworthy, but because you outgrew the doorway. You outgrew the conversations. You outgrew the cycles. You outgrew the doubts. You outgrew the version of yourself who once accepted so little. You didn't hurt them by going silent. You hurt them by becoming someone their old world can't reach, someone their old patterns can't touch, someone their old self doesn't deserve, someone their old mindset can't hold. This is not no contact. This is no return. You didn't just disappear. You evolved. And that hurts far more than silence. This is the Stoic way.